Well, today's the day. Tearing apart the car, fitting on the pieces. We have 60 days left.
Lucky.
This car is gonna be unveiled at SEMA this year, and we have a lot of work to do before that happens. Over the weekend, Calvin and I have been bouncing back a bunch of ideas of where we should start, certain areas that we should really focus on, certain things that we should put on the back burner until we kind of get closer to our end goal. But I think today where we wanna start is we wanna start test fitting these pieces before we start sanding stuff down, before we get way too ahead of ourselves. Let's start test fitting, let's just see how it bolts up and see how it looks when you put things together and make sure everything lines up. I do briefly wanna mention, I deeply apologize for the last video with this Ferrari. The mic was having an issue the whole entire video, and when I got into post and started editing it, I realized how bad the mic was. I apologize, it won't happen again. As you guys remember for all the previous Ferrari videos we've done, there are a lot of pieces that make up a Ferrari. We're about an hour in and we've just removed all of the under panels, the side skirts, and the fender liners of the car. We're now gonna move on to taking off the front fenders and the front bumper so we can start mocking up some of the stuff. But I wanna first off say, it's been a while since we've had an FTB, so let's go ahead and start this series off with an FTB. I also want to remind you guys that right now Hunting Company is doing a giveaway on my Mustang GT. For every $5 you spend on the store, gets you one entry towards the car. So if you're interested in winning a free car, definitely check that out. Links will be down below. Also, we're gonna be doing a meet and greet at Tuner Evo Chicago. The information will be here on the screen and information down below. And we're gonna be in LA at the Tuner show. So if you wanna see us in LA, we're gonna bring out all the cars to that show because it's gonna be a local event. So if you want information to that, everything will be linked down below. That all being said, let's go ahead and start taking out the rest of this car. What are you doing over here, Cal?
I highly recommend buying like the $2 100 pack of chip baggies so that you can organize your bolts, because this is super important. I walked over here trying to label this and I was like, huh, where did those go to? You need to label your bolts, especially since this car is gonna be apart for a majority of this time. And TJ and I play a lot of games. You should follow me on Twitch so you can watch us play games. And we definitely will forget about our bolts.
I'm sure a bunch of you out there are questioning how we're gonna pull certain things off, or maybe you might have been thinking to yourself, what are some things that TJ and Calvin are worried about when doing this? Because this isn't the normal kit. This is just one, very, very expensive, and two, the whole thing is made out of carbon Kevlar. This is still gonna be a street car. It's going to be a daily car, although it is a race car kit. That is not gonna be our main purpose. One of the things that I'm a little bit worried about that we're gonna try to make work on this car, or on this kit, is if you see on the stock body, you have these little holes. Now these holes are what gives the car the motion sensor capability. So when someone comes too close, the car lets you know from the inside, hey, someone's close, be very careful. Well, if you look on the GT3 kit, we don't have anything. Now, while that might seem pretty easy just to smoke some holes in this bumper and throw these in, it's a little bit more complicated than that, and you're gonna see why when we take off this rear bumper. There's gonna be an inside tab here that allows these to lock into. We could probably manipulate something to hold these in, but I'm more worried about making sure that we drill the proper sized holes at the exact placement, on the exact width and everything, so everything matches up with the motion sensor inside the car. That, I think, is going to be a little bit difficult on this car, and making sure that we have the space to throw them in. This bumper does kind of hold the same shape as the stock bumper, just a little bit wider. So we should be able to pull it off, but that is definitely one of my main concerns. Another problem we're going to have is this car has Zeus tabs throughout the whole entire car. I think we might try to retain those for this car. We use them on the drift car. Zeus tabs are pretty much a very, very convenient, quick disconnect. Now you can see see here on this car, I have 5 up top, which are a little bit different style, but more or less the same thing. That you can pretty much turn these and the whole bumper drops off. This being a street car, we don't want it to have the illusion of being a track car, so we might try to figure out how we're gonna make these work. But this is a really, really great way to make mounts yourself on the other side, because for the most part, this will fit up to this car, but I don't think that all the necessary brackets that this car was originally fit onto, I don't think we're gonna have those brackets on this car. So those are some of the questions that I'm thinking about when we're about to start fitting this stuff. Is we're gonna have to figure out how to make our motion sensors fit. We're gonna figure out how to make brackets on the car to match up with this front bumper, and then we have to figure out how all of this front diffuser setup goes.
Woo! Take that away, dude. Woo! Take it away, get out of my sight. So as you can see, we are in there. I do not miss this site at all.
I miss it.
You miss it?
Dude.
I don't miss this at all.
This was such a big thing for us. Like, this was less than a year ago. Like, putting this thing back together, learning how to do it. It was a big moment. I remember it. I missed it a lot.
I don't miss it, Teach.
All right, now with our front bumper gone, Cal, we gotta do our fenders.
I'm super excited to put on the new fenders because the new fenders, as you can see, they are completely different. The mud guards are integrated with the fender. I'm super curious to see how it goes onto the car.
Yeah, we're gonna try to throw the front bumper on right now, just for fun. I don't know if it'll work, but I'm curious to see how much of an overhang it has on the stock front fenders. I don't know if it will work, but we're gonna try. One thing we just found, the trunk latch, there's no release for the trunk latch, so we're gonna have to modify this, cut that out, that's for sure. But we do get to see kind of how much wider it is than stock, at least in the front. What, 50 mil do you think, Cal? I would say like 50 mil. And I think you can confidently say it's not that much longer in the front either, which means that it won't be too undrivable technically.
Oh, Teach!
What's up?
I don't know what you're worrying about. Look, we got bare aluminum right here. And there's a bracket, whatchamadoodad.
Yeah, we might be able to make a bracket right there.
Easy. I can do that.
We're gonna go ahead now. We'll remove this, take off these front fenders, see if we can mount on these fenders, figure out which ones we wanna run. This is not even clocked, right? This is supposed to be sitting lower, so it's not perfect by any means, but you can kind of see it. Here we have a front left fender, stock GT3. Now, the biggest thing that you'll notice is there's this big sheet of dry carbon that is attached to this front fender. On the stock fenders, you have all these like inner lining pieces and stuff that detach from the car, but on the race kit, they are one-piece sheets of carbon. Now, the big question, you see on this inner fender, there are these bolt holes that it lines up on the rail. When you look on this,
It ain't there.
it ain't there. So how does that fit on that, Cal? I have no idea. So let's just see how much work
Just let me do it.
is gonna have to be done here. Because I think
I'll tell you.
there's gonna be a lot of cutting to make that fit. Now keep in mind, as Calvin tries to mastermind this, keep in mind it's very difficult because it is a very awkward big piece of carbon and it's really hard to get it to fit where you want without it knocking into all these things. So there's only one way to put this in the right way. And I don't even think that it can be done in this current state. What the heck?
What the heck?
This has to be in here, and then
This
this
has to be-
front right here in this
has to
corner
be
needs to
over.
line up
Has to be over.
here. Do you think it has to be over or under? Do you think that carbon has to go over this?
No, it has to be under.
Under?
Yeah.
I don't know if this stays, but it has to, right?
But you can't.
'Cause I was gonna say, look, this doesn't even,
hook. It
you
doesn't
can't, you
hook,
physically
yeah.
can't come any closer. What if you wrap over it?
It doesn't, because you can't do that. Because this has to be here.
So do we have to cut this?
The thing that we waited so long to put in here is this thing.
And now you're saying we might have to cut this out.
It looks like it.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. We have no one to ask, bro.
Yeah, we kind of have to make it up. So the fender definitely doesn't fit in this area, but you know what could? The fender liner. We held up the fender to this fender liner to try and figure out what exactly it looks like. And we figured that this was the left side. So right now I'm currently holding it up to the car, and it makes a lot of sense because that vent fits in front of there. This vent fits over here, and these holes line up like that.
See it now. Yeah.
There's a
Look, that
hole
hole's
there.
Perfect, man.
Okay, and holding this up here, this hole goes to this, and it doesn't get anywhere near. So this beam, 100% in the way.
I think you keep the beam, but I think this
No, you can't keep the beam. It doesn't give support at all.
You think you cut the beam off?
I think you cut the beam off.
No.
Because this over here, this part needs to be over this part, but then this part needs to be under this part. But they're together, unless we could phase through.
You don't think that? Oh
No,
man,
absolutely.
this is where it gets tricky. This is where that 60-day countdown is tricky because this isn't just like a normal. It's not really bolt on. It's a lot of customization to make this work because straight up race cars that come from Ferrari don't have any of this crap. But what I'm saying is, I can't imagine you delete this. I can't imagine that.
Why not?
Well, because look what it's supporting.
It supports nothing.
What do you mean? It's supporting this whole entire this brace. The front of the skeleton is being supported by the arch.
No. This square is supported by this frame right here. Yeah, this is a floating rib. You could remove this to be able to look down further you know?
So what, you're saying that you suggest
This is a floating
that
rib.
you just lop it here and lop it here?
We'd need to get, yeah.
But you need to keep that.
Yeah, so right here. Or, you know.
No, because it's already hitting right here.
Yeah,
immediately, the first thing it hits is that.
We'd have to create, I guess that's what he was saying when we went to go pick it up. You have to create brackets for this car. We could build a bracket that holds it from here to here, so it's not in the way.
We got some pictures. I got a little video context. I know what we have to do. I always hate it when Calvin's right, but we need to cut from here off, and we need to cut from right here off. We're gonna keep this part right here because that's what connects the hinge for the hood. But this isn't even there on the race car, so we do not need that. I really did not think we were gonna be cutting today. I didn't think we were gonna be cutting today. I thought this was gonna bolt on. It doesn't. So I guess here's to SEMA. First cut is about to go down. This time we're gonna be using a sawzall rather than a cutoff wheel, just because it's like straight up aluminum. Calvin says it will be way easier as a cutoff wheel, and researched, backed him on that. But when we go and cut the fenders and stuff, we'll use a cutoff wheel like we normally do, but for this, sawzall for the win. Here goes nothing. I never thought I'd be doing this ever in my life. Send it. Feels good. Well, that actually went easier than I thought. You think she's just gonna slip in, Calv? Moment of truth, here we go. GT3 modification test. Did it work or did we do that for nothing? So it's like hitting a little bit right here. I can like kind of guide you. Oh wait, hold on. Try now. Can you go inwards? So after wrestling this for about 30 minutes or so, we ended up just removing the whole entire windshield wiper assembly, which is something we'll have to address later. But with that removed, we were able to slip this rear fender over this inside bracket. So right here is where the windshield wiper assembly normally goes. On the race cars, they modify it so this isn't here anymore. So we're gonna have to address that at one point. But we have a closer fit menu.
Oh, wait, we removed that speed clip.
But this is the closest we've gotten so far. You can kind of see it's almost there. Not quite, but it's almost there. So here's our game plan. We got super lucky in the fact that we got two front left fenders with this car. They had a spare, so they gave us an extra one. And on the front left-hand side of the car is where we have the windshield wiper mount. On the right-hand side of the car, there's nothing to interfere at all. It's completely wide open, so we actually started on the harder side without even realizing it. That being said, there are two ways to go about this. We can either cut a hole out in the carbon to slip through, so we're able to keep the stock placement of the windshield wipers, or we could do the harder route, which would be to modify the windshield wiper motors to not interfere with the carbon of the front fender. Now going back to us having two fenders, I think that we're gonna cut one, and if we don't like how it turns out, or we don't think it's possible, we still have the backup one that is in perfect 100% shape, and then off of that one, we could try to figure out a way to modify the windshield wiper module. So we kind of drew out a minimal guideline of how much we're gonna cut. So Calvin's gonna go with a Dremel tool and very carefully cut out a clean cutout of this Sharpie, and he's gonna try to mock this on and see if bit by bit we can try to get a clean pass-through hole for the windshield wiper module. Now while Calvin is doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and start stripping the front right-hand side of the car. So we're gonna take off the headlights, we're gonna remove this front fender, and if time permits, we'll go ahead and start cutting off the aluminum brace. All while Calvin is doing the surgery on the front left fender. Calvin is still sanding away some of the kit. I finished cutting out the right-hand side, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep the wheels turning. And I'm gonna start removing this wrap from the rear over fender. And as you can see here, underneath the wrap, this was never painted. So we actually have that raw carbon on the outside with that Kevlar on the inside. This wrap is like super, super old. And I've been trying at it for the last like 30 seconds and it's like really fighting me. So this is gonna be a very time consuming thing. So I'll probably pick away at this throughout the next couple of days and do it when I have time, but I'm not gonna sit down here in a 3-hour increment and remove all this. So I'm gonna do this until Calvin is ready to test fit. So this is actually being held in by one bolt on the inside of this like carbon fender liner. That's very, very loose, and this is a very, very loose fitment. And I don't want it to make it seem like all Calvin did was cut out that, because I think he probably spent an hour or two shaving multiple places up on that windshield wiper bracket. You can see he shaved here along this cross member bar, and also the hinge on the inside of the latch for the hood. The whole entire inside of the inner fender had to get cut out as well. So a lot of cutting. He's wearing the appropriate safety equipment to be dealing with that carbon Kevlar. Very dangerous stuff, especially when you're cutting it just like Calvin was doing. That's not done. Is you saying it's good? Oh, you want to test the other side? Oh, you want to put the front bumper on? Yeah, we could do that. I'm down for that. This is very far from done, but that is a great first step. In my argument, probably the hardest first step was trying to modulate all those pieces and down. And guys, let's go ahead and try and throw on the front bumpers to see where it lines up. I'm sure you guys want to see that as well. So let's go ahead and throw that on, see how easy she lines up. This lines up like in... We're unable to put all of it on because we need to cut around some of the stuff. But hey, look at that. This fits up pretty close, dude. Like, you can't really see it on camera, but there's an indent here on the front fender that actually marries in to the front fender and vice versa. Like, it marries up perfectly, which obviously it should, but just seeing that is like pretty damn cool. Oh my gosh. Dude, it's a big car when you have this kit on here. I can't show you guys too much of it, but I mean, you can just see it from here. Like, that is nasty.
So basically, I opened all of this up, had to shave it down to the Kevlar so that it would clear it.
And that has to be done. I think there's a lot of people are gonna realize that there might be a bunch of different ways to do this, but I don't really think there's a wrong way.
Yeah, so the race car, we got pictures of it, and the race car even has a modified windshield wiper. Usually when you have a race car, it goes all one big one, whereas on a street car, you have two. I had to cut this square out because we're gonna keep the factory windshield wipers.
We pretty much went off of their pictures and everything said it looks good, but yeah, what Calvin's saying is 100% right. Calvin went at it for hours and hours and got that thing to look pretty damn good.
So a few things that I need to work on. That bottom corner where the side skirt attaches, the top corner up here where the hinge is still, and then we have to put a riv nut on the pillar, one of the support pillars, so that we could screw it in. I do want to kind of paint the picture a little bit for you guys here. Because every single piece is carbon fiber, these vents right here, when we take this to paint, we're gonna leave all of these carbon, and then we're gonna leave all of these carbon. So there's gonna be exposed carbon fiber pretty much all over the car. And I think we might even leave some of this stuff carbon. I haven't really quite decided yet, but we're gonna be using the stock side skirts. I saw some questions about that. And then the rear over fender kind of just fits over this side skirt. And man, we didn't even get to the rear bumper today, wow. I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted longer videos or shorter videos of every day. I think what we're gonna do is a little healthy mixture of both. I'm gonna go ahead and upload this video just with the progress that we've done today. And this is only one day's work, just because I know a lot of you guys are eager to see this content and I'm eager to put it out there. Today's video, I'm probably gonna throw it out with just this stuff, but what's following to come after this video is probably a montage of 2 to 3 days of work, so that, you know, you guys don't get a video every single day of very, very small progress. I think I'd rather do a higher quality, longer videos and kind of cover the section by section. So what to expect in next video, I'm not quite sure, but probably having the other side done and having the front bumper mocked up all the way. And then we'll probably spend a day cutting the rear fenders and mounting everything else. And there's a lot to be had. But that is big progress. Just looking at it from this side, man. Wow. And I saw some comments too
saying, are you gonna run the GT3 mirrors? I know there's a pair on eBay right now. Some of you guys were asking about that, if I was gonna pick those up. I do like them and I might run them. I have a piece of carbon stuck in my finger, ow. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do yet. I do think they look way cooler than the stock mirrors, but this is a street car. One thing that I do like about this car is there is good visibility with these mirrors. I'm not sure what it's like dailying or having a car on the street with those small, little tiny mirrors. And I don't know if those mirrors are electric. So to be honest, as much as those other mirrors look insane, I might keep the stock mirrors for now. I need to get some more information on what those GT3 mirrors are able to do and what their visibility is like. Kind of lame, but it's the reality of having this car on the street and not on a racetrack. If you want to stay up to date on the GT3 build, be sure to hit subscribe and turn those post notifications on. We're gonna be uploading this as much as we can, and you can stay posted to my Instagram and Calvin's Instagram and his Twitch, because we will be covering on there as well. And if you haven't already, please hit that thumbs up button on today's video. You guys giving the video a thumbs up helps out so much more than you know. So if you made it this far in the video, please hit that thumbs up button. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace out and keep moving forward.